All right, we are back on Steel City. I'm your host, Andre Duke, from the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. If before we kick things off, if you can hit that like and subscribe button and help me grow this show, that would be great. Hold on one second. Here we go. And there we go. So we got that fixed. This is the one of the things of being your own producer. But with that being said, if you can hit the like and subscribe button, that would be fantastic. Big news coming out of yesterday, especially with the Jalen Ramsey trade. I think that is something that's very fascinating to me, that the Steelers went ahead and did that. They trade Mika Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins, from where he came. But I think that is something to be said about. I think Mike Tomlin has a big time win now mentality. I just feel like that it's good for both ends. The Steelers and the Dolphins switch a little draft capital. I believe the Dolphins get a 5th round pick. They basically swapped a 5th for a 7th plus Jalen Ramsey and I believe a tight end. So I think there's something to be said there. I don't think that it's the be all end all. I think that one of the main things that Tomlin wants to do is solidify some of the parts of the defense, with the OTAs and stuff. And I think that with that being said, it's something that needed to be done. Quite possibly, I think there's going to be, some Steeler fans upset that we let Minka go via trade. But, that's just something that's part of the business. And adding Jalen Ramsey mixed with DK Metcalf, that's going to be an interesting locker room dynamic, I'm sure. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue. Mike Tomlin has been the master of keeping lids on the locker room. I mean, George Pickens, Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, a lot of the guys that have, left Pittsburgh and have fell out of favor. But I thought, today would be a good day to do a show on it. Jalen Ramsey entering his 9th year. I feel like that this is the point in time where we're out there trying to pursue a Super Bowl. I think that the Steelers, also on the other note, I believe they're optimistic on the TJ Watt thing. Just my personal opinion on the TJ Watt thing. I think that TJ might be out the door personally. I know I keep saying but I think TJ's probably out the door most likely. I think that, going into it, it's one of those things that if they can't get the contract extension done, I think them remaining optimistic on it is kind of wild to me, honestly. I feel like that with Watt possibly having one foot out the door, maybe, I don't know if he's got a foot out the door or not, but it just sure seems like it is done, because I think that they would have probably had an extension done by now. And anybody that's following the Steelers, they sometimes don't negotiate during the season. So I think that that's something that it's been brewing for a while. I think he wants Myles Garrett money. Whether the Steelers are willing to pay him Myles Garrett money is something to be said. I don't know if they're going to. And DK on Pittsburgh Sports, give him the shout out. They posted the Steelers are looking. The Steelers look like Mike Tomlin is frustrated. So I don't know if Tomlin is 100% frustrated on the side of Minka Fitzpatrick. I don't know if they needed to move him to clear up cap room. That's also, I'm not a capologist by any means, but I think that that's something that could be said about that. Helping to relieve cap room. And also ESPN reported, I believe, yesterday that several teams are inquiring about TJ Watt. I'll be interested to see what the trade haul on that would be. I think it would have to be very, very significant for the Steelers to even move off of it. I think Smith and Ramsey coming over. I would like to see it's going to be that could be a cap move solely just to re-sign TJ Watt. I could be wrong about the whole Watt situation, which I might be, but I feel like that it's something that needs to be done as far as TJ's future and all of that. I'm assuming he wants to be in Pittsburgh. I think that the contract negotiations are probably not going as swimmingly, just based upon him on his Instagram post several months back about um, the whole putting the deuces up, and he posted on his Instagram, and everybody in Steelers Nation went kind of crazy because they're like kind of like what the hell's going on. I feel like that is something to be said. I don't necessarily think that all is lost, but I don't know if it's looking the greatest. And if you look at what the Steelers have acquired this offseason, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Juwan Smith, Jalen Ramsey, and Darius Slay. So they had three offensive pieces. Obviously, they let Najee Harris walk, and they just traded Minka Fitzpatrick, which I don't know. Just looking at the trade, I didn't have Minka Fitzpatrick in the Jalen Ramsey situation on my bingo card for this offseason. Some speculation that Jalen Ramsey might be coming to the Steelers to play safety, which I don't know how much experience. I don't think he's ever started at safety, but I'm not doubting that he can't play it. So I'm sure Jalen Ramsey's probably happy to get out of Miami with a fresh start, and also, joining the Steelers. I've, known some people that have played for the Dolphins and never heard anything completely great about how they treat their players. So just judging by the evidence involved, they trotted Tua Tagovailoa out there just several days after his concussion. But with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this show. We're going to have a evening show coming at you tonight, which is all going to be college football. But I thought going live today with the Jalen Ramsey trade was something that needed to be talked about and discussed. If you can hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing, would be much appreciated. And then once we get to a certain point on this channel, we're going to spin Steel City off into its own channel itself. So it'll be a standalone NFL channel. So you're not going to have to muddy the waters and see what we got going on over there. But just figured I'd give everybody a little bit of an update on that. And also comment with who do you think won this trade? I think it'll have to be from when the season plays out. It's just something that is right there. But with that being said, I guess we'll move on to something else that I saw out there in the NFL world. If I can get it pulled up. Yes. Justin Tucker, 10-game suspension by the league. It's kind of rough. I'm sure the Ravens aren't thrilled that it says ex-Raven Tucker has been suspended for the first 10 weeks. The NFL announced he has violated the personal league conduct policy. So Tucker, 35, accused of sexual misconduct by 16 massage therapists from 8 high-end spas and wellness centers in the Baltimore area, according to the Baltimore Banner. All of the alleged misconducts reportedly occurred between 2012 and 2016 via ESPN there. So Justin Tucker suspended 10 games, first 10 games of the season. I would say that this is, I don't think a team in the league will probably touch him. No pun intended. But I don't think anybody signs him. Maybe possibly the only team that I could see desperate enough to sign Justin Tucker would be the Cleveland Browns. That is something to be said there. Not a whole lot going on in the NFL circles right now. I know training camp is getting close to kicking off, and then we have then we got a couple of other notes here that I found interesting. The Dolphins trade, yeah, I'm just thumbing through it because this was kind of impromptu. I thought I had the over-under win totals. The NFL is kind of got that going. I'm trying to find my win totals. Bear with me here real quick. I thought I had it. Where is it? Just trying to. Oh, that's always great when that happens. When the phone stops working, where you have all your notes. But unless that has crashed, I'm looking. Just bear with me, folks. I'm sorry if you're watching this at a later date. I'm trying to get this pulled up. When you run two shows, you have college football notes, you have NFL stuff, and that's just one of the things. But anyway, I guess we'll move on from that. I can't find it at the moment. But Justin Tucker, some of that, and then a little bit of the NFL schedule that I wanted to talk about, because this year's Thursday night games, I think they've done a little bit of a better job as far as scheduling. Uh, Washington at Green Bay kicks it off. Then you got Miami at Buffalo. Don't know how great that's going to be. They've kind of went divisional games to make them more interesting. In my opinion, I think that's why they did it. And then they went purely star power. And then we have a Friday night game in the week of Thanksgiving. It's the Black Friday game's a 3 o'clock kick. Chicago at Philly. I don't know. They're banking on, I guess, the Bears being good. But throughout it, the Thursday night games look fairly decent. There's no Panthers Saints, so I think that's a win. Or Panthers Giants, I think that's a win for everyone as far as the fan is concerned, because the majority of them outside of Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota at Los Angeles, Miami at Baltimore, in Chicago at Philly, and Dallas at Detroit. Don't know what they're hoping for there, but all the other games, I think the vast majority of the Thursday night slate is fairly decent, to be honest. And then tried and true Monday Night Football, Minnesota at Chicago. That's a big one. And then the NFL is doing this doubleheader stuff again. I just can't get behind it. Tampa at Houston, Los Angeles at Vegas, the Chargers Raiders. That's a doubleheader. They've only got how many doubleheaders this year? They've only got 1, 2, 3 doubleheader Monday games this year. But Cincinnati at Denver could be compelling. Oh, Doreen reposted if I could speak, reposted the stream. Thanks, Doreen. Shout out Doreen. But yeah, the Monday night doubleheader is just horrendous in my opinion. Jets at Miami, Cincinnati at Denver is week 4. At least that's week 4, and then week 2 is Tampa Bay, Houston, Chargers, Raiders in week 2. I don't know. And then week 6 they go Buffalo, Atlanta, Chicago, Washington. And those kicks are only an hour apart, which is strange. And then you got week 7, Houston, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Detroit. Detroit, 7 p.m. kick. It's just like, I just can't get behind it. It's not something that I want to watch. Why not just have Monday night a single standalone night? That's just how it's always been for years. But the NFL's got to squeeze that money. And then the funny thing is that you have an ABC, ESPN, and then this is how they're going to drive subscriber base on the ESPN app, because Houston at Seattle's, I'm going to assume it may be an ESPN Plus exclusive. Don't hold me to that, but I bet it's an exclusive to drive up subscriber base. So be prepared. I'm sure Twitter will melt down after that. And then just the overall week 1 schedule. Sunday Night Football, which I think is probably the best production when it comes to the NFL, just in my opinion. I don't know who doesn't love Sunday Night Football, but Sunday Night Football has always got the best matchups. You have Baltimore, Buffalo, week 1. I don't think it gets much better than that. And then you lead it off week 2, Minnesota, Atlanta, a little bit of a mid card there, in my opinion. And then as we're rolling through Sunday Night Football, Kansas City at New York, that'll be a big deal just because it's the New York market. Russ Wilson taking on Patrick Mahomes. And then Green Bay, Dallas, that'll be – I don't know how good the Cowboys are going to be under Schottenheimer, but it's Dallas. But New England at Buffalo, a divisional game, tons of eyeballs on that. The NFL schedule is kind of actually better this year than what it was last year. Now, I have October 12th circled on my calendar just for the fact of Detroit, Kansas City. That will be, I think that'll be a whopper of the game. In Atlanta, San Francisco, Sunday Night Football, I think that's more of a mid-tier game myself. Green Bay at Pittsburgh, 2 giant fan bases. They'll do a big TV number there. Seattle at Washington. Seattle coming clear across the country. I think there'll be some big eyeballs on that. Jaden Daniels being a big star, like he's going to be billed, and they're billing Caleb Williams in this prime time. So the one thing I'll give the Bear fans is I just hope that he is as advertised, and the NFL thinks a lot of him. But what is that? Week 10, you got Pittsburgh traveling west to Los Angeles. I'm sure the people of LA, it'll look like a Steelers home game. That's just how it goes with Chargers home games. Detroit, Philly, that's another one, November 16th. That will be a banger of a game. And then Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, Baker Mayfield going up against the team that helped him get to Tampa Bay and Sean McVay. I'm sure that will be a compelling game. Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford. I almost said Sam Bradford. And then Thursday, the week of Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving Day games, Green Bay, Detroit, Kansas City, Dallas. The Kansas City Dallas game will be a huge number, and Cincinnati, Baltimore for Sunday Night Football. Then Black Friday is the Bears, Eagles, and then the Sunday slate, Washington, Denver. It's at Washington, and then also Washington getting the new stadium that's going to be coming. But those are the first couple week matchups there. I think that those are some pretty compelling matchups, to be honest, in my opinion. And then another thing, and we'll close this out and get everybody out of here. Wanted to run through the schedule and just some of the other stuff that is going to be viewed on the upcoming season. NFL on Fox had a what could go right and what could go wrong. The picture is DK Metcalf on the left. What could go right? Technically a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. What could go wrong? History repeats itself with a picture of Aaron Rodgers. So it's something that is going to be interesting. And then also the Browns, what could go right? A 5th-round rookie starts 17 games, or the Browns have 5 different starting quarterbacks. I don't disagree with that at all. So that's just something to be said, and now I found it. Or at least I thought I had it found, and it disappeared on me. I'm just hoping that I can get this whole thing worked out. But there it is. So the odds to win each division, this will be the last thing, and then we'll get everybody out. The Eagles to win their division as a couple of weeks ago. Bear Bet Pod posted this. The Eagles, this was a couple days ago, but the Eagles are plus 390. The Lions plus 400. The Ravens plus 400. The Chiefs at plus 425, which I find that interesting. The AFC East. The AFC East is the Bills at plus 550. The Rams plus 700. To win the South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are plus 1,500 sorry, Bear Bets. My bad. I read that wrong. Winning the division and the Super Bowl is what's included in on this. The Eagles are plus 390. The Lions are plus 400. And the Ravens plus 400. I don't know if I totally agree with that, but the highest odds are Houston plus 1,900 to win the division and the Super Bowl. So that is something to be said there. And then here's a historic thing from NFL Historic. The Green Bay Packers have never won a game in Buffalo. I find that very, very interesting. Takeo Spikes played for 5 different teams during his career, over a 15-year career, and never played in one single playoff game. That's very unfortunate. And then in 1974, NFL game between the Jets and Bills, the Bills defense forced 3 interceptions. Both offenses combined for a total of 2 completions. And then the Broncos have been to 8 Super Bowls in their franchise history. Their quarterbacks have a combined touchdown to interception ratio 4-15. So not so good. And then in 1995, the Chiefs led the league in rushing yards, and they didn't have a single rusher, and I believe Marcus Allen was on that team. And then in 2003, Jamal Lewis ran for 2,066 yards. 500 of those yards came against the Browns alone. Yikes. And then Paul Warfield, Hall of Fame wide receiver from 1964 to 1977, recorded 427 receptions in his entire career. And 85 of his receptions were touchdowns. And that's a career average of 1 touchdown per 5 receptions. So that is a very interesting stat there. And then in 1980, including the regular season and playoffs, Lester Hayes had 18 interceptions. 14 receptions came in the regular season. And then there's only been 3 NFL players named Napoleon. They were all drafted by the Raiders between 1986 and 2002. So that is just a little NFL history for everybody. I thought that would be something to add to the show. I think I'm going to start doing that segment going forward. Shout out to NFL Historic for putting that little thing together. As soon as I can figure out how to get the graphics in, I'll be able to probably show graphics and do all that fun stuff. But want to thank everybody for coming out today. Appreciate Doreen for sharing the show. If you can hit that like and subscribe button and help grow this thing, we're going to probably transition this show after we get the college football show up and going to a to its own channel, so we don't have the NFL fans and the college football fans intersecting. because some people watch the NFL and don't watch college football. They see a lot of the college football stuff and they'll probably say, I don't know, what do these guys do? But with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing. And take care, Steelers Nation.